Okay guys, we've made our stop for the night, Ituzi Motel. Gonna clean up and head off to see the waterfall. So I've just checked in and I don't know if I've ever stayed in a motel before. I always think that a motel is a very American concept. I think what makes it a motel is that it's close to the road, like it's like a courtyard close to the road. I don't know if that's technically the definition of a motel. Americans, please tell me below. But yeah, it's absolutely lovely. And the absolute kicker here is that I just paid 10,000. So this is a very, very local motel resto. It's just for anybody traveling along this road. I'm guessing they probably don't get a lot of foreign tourists here. I imagine it's probably mostly Rwandans going from here to Tanzania, probably, I don't know, bus or car, because there's nothing really kind of touristy over this side of the country. I asked the receptionist again, I said, you know, the waterfalls, is there anything else to see? And she was like, no. So that's fine. I'm here to see the waterfall because I've never seen it before. But let me just quickly show you around the room before I go out again. So we've got a little desk here with a plug socket. And we've got a nice bed, mosquito net. And through here we've got a very, very spacious bathroom. So we've got a little cupboard like we had at the last place. We've got the taps and we've got me, hello, and oh, we've got something to hang our towel on, which we didn't have at Silent Hill. Right, this is what I was talking about. This is quite a local thing, is you generally have bucket of water for when the water isn't working, so that's emergency bucket of water. Oh, but there's nothing in it, so that's probably a good sign that the water does work. A bowl for washing in. The toilet, which doesn't have a seat, which is also kind of normal when you're outside of Kigali and you're travelling in more remote areas. Often toilets don't have toilet seats, but we do have toilet paper. I brought some with me just in case, because you can never be certain. But what my eye is focused on here is they've got an electric shower. So that's kind of impressive. Yeah, so it's a really nice big bathroom. Not too sure what's out the window. Let's have a little look. Don't know, houses, I think. But yeah, I am very, very happy with this for 10,000. And this is what a standard sort of suburban hotel looks like when you get out of Kigali. So yeah, you know what to expect. There isn't any water. It was a nice idea, but I think I might be having another bucket bath today. Okay, that was very cool. I had resigned myself to a bucket bath and I popped my head out and asked for some water. And the lady ran around the back, turned the water on, and now I can have a hot shower. So I like it here. One small thing to be aware of though when you're staying in places like this is there's no grip on the tiles, and when they get wet they can get really slippy, so you just need to be very, very careful where you put your feet. And sometimes, as with this shower, when I first turned it on it went everywhere, so it's kind of gone into the room as well a bit. So just be really, really careful when you're showering in tiled spaces because it's so easy to slip on them. So I just got out the shower. I'm drinking some water because you got to remember to hydrate. It's very hot out there. And I'm having one of my peanut brittle flapjacks that I got at Imigongo yesterday. Very good. I'm also breaking into my pineapple biscuits that I got at Imigongo. These are from India. And I bought them because I've never had a pineapple biscuit before. Yeah, that smells really strongly of like fake pineapple. Okay. Actually pretty good. It actually tastes more like a custard cream with a hint of pineapple. So yeah, these are good. I like them. All right, guys, it's about 2 p.m. I'm very well rested, and I think it's about time that we head out and try and find this waterfall. I was just looking at directions, and it literally seems to be at the bottom of the hill. So about, I don't know, it reckons about 12 minutes away. Let's go see this waterfall. That really big town we drove through on the way in was probably Nyarabuye rather than Rusumo. The motel I'm staying in seems to be in the middle between Nyarabuye and Rusumo, which is a smaller town on the border. Ituzi Motel was literally the only place that came up when I looked on Google Maps, or at least the only place that had listed itself, and I'm feeling pretty grateful that it did. There's quite a few houses around the motel, but I think Rusumo proper is a bit further on. We're going to drive very carefully here. That's an RIB van, which stands for Rwanda Investigation Bureau, Rwanda's equivalent of the FBI. If there's one vehicle you do not want to drive into the back of, that will be it. There's a very pretty view here. I think that's Tanzania in the distance. Okay, this is starting to feel a bit border town. Petrol station, lots of trucks parked up. Let's see what this says. United Republic of Tanzania, straight ahead. I wonder if anyone knows where the waterfall is. It's for the waterfall.
What?
The waterfall.
Yes, we pass here.
Come in. Murakoze.
Yes, yes.
Okay, confession time. Usually, when I'm going off to do something, I look up the words I'm likely to need in Kinyarwanda. But I was a bit tired from the drive, and I totally forgot to do that. So I don't actually know what the word for waterfall is in Kinyarwanda. I know shoots, as in shoots and daba, which is a waterfall in Karonge, but I don't actually think that's the correct word in Kenya. People are waving me this way, but I don't know if they fully understand what I'm trying to find, or if they just think I want to go to Tanzania. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this is somewhere I probably shouldn't be. I can definitely see a river down there. Random group of small children. I think they're selling water. Okay, there's a guard here. He might be able to help me.
Do you speak English? I'm looking for the waterfall. Yeah.
You know what? A signpost would be really damn helpful about now. I have no idea where I'm going. Aha! There's a bridge. And there's a river. It must be around here somewhere. Oh crap, I appear to be on the wrong side of the road. I absolutely do not want to end up in Tanzania, so I think I'd better stop here, next to Rusumo Power Company Limited. After a couple of excruciating exchanges in which I completely failed to communicate my intentions, an absolutely lovely gentleman pulled up and told me to follow him back down the road to a big police station that I had completely missed on the way in. For obvious reasons, I turned off my camera at this point. He explained to them what I was doing, and they told me to park up the road, walk back down, and they'd show me where to go. Okay, so I finally parked up here, and it is incredibly stressful. I'll talk about it later, but there's a whole wetlands over here, and I've got to walk back down the road to find the waterfall. So this is the hydroelectric plant, and I think that the waterfall powers that, and then this leads into the Rwandan wetlands. I can certainly hear water, but I think it's coming from down there. Okay, so it's super intimidating. You've got to walk down the side of all of these back towards this giant police office. And it's been very difficult to explain what I'm doing here as a tourist. The way people were talking about it, I thought you just walked out onto a wooden bridge and looked at the waterfall, but this is an operation. Okay, so just behind me is a little hole in a fence. I can't show you because it's right opposite a major police station, but they just waved me through. So you walk out onto this bridge here and you should be able to see the waterfall. I'm dazed and confused at this point. I think I briefly crossed into Tanzania by accident. Okay, I can definitely hear something. One guy said to me that there isn't much water at the moment, so there isn't so much to see. I've just put my helmet and my bag down because we are right opposite a massive police station, so I don't think I'm in any danger. Oh, I can hear it. Oh my gosh! Oh gosh, can you see this? Oh wow! Whoa! Hey, that's pretty impressive. Whoa! That the shape of it looks ever so slightly like Africa. It's kind of cool. It's crazy because it's coming down so fast that it almost looks like it's moving slowly because it's bumping up and down like that and turning into kind of mist. Although it's going really, really fast, it kind of looks like it's slow. It's weird, slow motion. Honestly, when you stare at it for long enough, it's kind of hypnotic. It's really incredible. Can't imagine what it would be like if you were standing down there next to it. It looks much bigger in reality than it does on camera. It's the colour of caramel. Looking at it, I'm thinking about Willy Wonka. It is definitely the colour of caramel. It's not showing up on camera so well, but the wind's picked up and you can see the mist kind of rising from it. It's crazy to think that this is powering part of Rwanda's energy needs, sort of sucking the water down through the hydroelectric plant. It's pretty cool. Let's just see what happens over the other side. Fell down a step. Okay. So we've just crossed over the road and this is the other side. Just goes off into a canyon. It's a bit of a sandbar out there, a little bit of rapids, but definitely nothing too crazy. It sort of calms down a lot after that. It's really impressive. Okay, so this is not a tourist friendly zone, but if you want to try it, you approach from this road here. You need to park up opposite the hydroelectric plant, and then you continue down the road, and on the left there's a little police office, and then they will let you go through the fence and look at the waterfall. It's a mission. Alright, Rusumo Falls off the tourism checklist. I'm heading back the way I came. Few businesses have listed on Google Maps around here, but my phone did say there's a place called Jacaranda Bar Resto somewhere along here, which sounds like a nice place to stop off and grab something to eat. It's got a whopping 108 reviews, so it must be popular. It definitely still exists, because the last review was from a week ago, but I must have missed it. I kept an eye out, but I definitely didn't see it, and before I knew it, I was back near my motel. But luckily, the motel has a really good resto. The waiter was really friendly, and the menu was pretty good. I downed a Fanta Citron as I was pretty thirsty, but quickly switched to Mutzig. I felt like I'd earned a drink. Oh yes. I then ordered a big plate of akabenzi, which is pork. This is very common pub grub in local restos. Served with salt and a pot of pili pili sauce. Careful though, because this stuff is hot. Whilst I was sitting there was a skull van outside. Apparently, it's been brewed in Africa since 1965. The things you learn. No meal is complete without a toothpick. A couple of beers later, and it was time to head to bed. Hi guys, I've just got back to my room. I treated myself to a couple of mutzig tonight to get over the shock of Rusumo Falls. There's a really nice bar cafe next door. The guy there was so sweet. And I had this huge plate of pork and potato, plus a large and a small mutzig, plus 2 bottles of water and a Fanta for like 7,200, which is about £4, which is absolutely unheard of in Kigali. So yeah, it's giving me real VSO reminiscent vibes at the moment. Just, you know, the cost of the room, the cost of the food. It's reminding me of days gone by. And yeah, it's just been really lovely. Chantal, who's the lady who manages the place, and all of her staff are just so nice. I've been really impressed by this little place. And it's now almost 7 o'clock at night, and it's quiet. You've got the road going by, but it's quiet. I did hear a rather enthusiastic cockerel earlier, who I think might put in an appearance in the early hours, but you know, fuck it. It's fine. I am glad that I went to see Rusumo Falls. I think it is very interesting. I think it's a gorgeous waterfall. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go as far to say I think that's a better waterfall, a more impressive waterfall than any of the 4 that you see in Yungwei. But it comes with some serious caveats. I'm feeling a little bit shell-shocked, to be honest. So I drove down there because from what I read, and I know this is my fault, I didn't really do my research, but from what I read, it was saying, yeah, it's on the border, but you know, the guards just let you walk across and look at it. That's kind of the vibe I got. And in my head, I was kind of like expecting this sort of, I don't know, like bridge, wooden bridge or something that you just walk out onto and look at the waterfall. And yeah, you do, you walk out onto the bridge and you look at the waterfall, but there aren't any signposts telling you where it is. It's bang opposite a massive police station, and those guys are not used to seeing tourists rock up looking for a waterfall. I stopped to ask a few people because I wasn't too sure of the word in Kinyarwanda. So I was doing quite badly at explaining what I was looking for. And later on I looked it up, and I think Isumo, I'm going to look it up now. I need to look it up. I think Isumo is the word for waterfall, which makes sense because then I suppose Rusumo is going to be the place where the waterfall is, right? I'm guessing. So you kind of, you wouldn't have thought it would have been so difficult to explain that you're looking for the waterfall when the place is named after the waterfall. But it was hard. A lot of people and I don't know if it's that they didn't know what I was trying to find, or they weren't sure why I was trying to find. It's like, why the hell would you want to go and stand and look at a waterfall bang in the middle of an extremely busy crossing point in no man's land between Rwanda and Tanzania? So from that point of view, yeah, okay, fine. It's not normal for a Mzungu on a motorbike to rock up looking for the waterfall, I'm sure. The police turned out to be pretty chill, actually. They're quite cool. They were sitting up on this balcony and I was just pointing to where I was going. So I went to see the main waterfall first, and then when I came out I pointed to the other side as in, can I go and take a photograph? And they were just like, yeah, go for it. So they weren't bothered by me. I guess I'm not a particularly threatening looking person, to be honest, especially when I'm looking that confused. So it was interesting. But what I didn't realise, so I'm driving along and there's this weird road layout and all of these trucks and lorries queuing up to go through immigration. I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden we switch to the side of the road and I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, why are we now driving on the wrong side of the road? And then it clicked, oh shit, I think I've crossed into Tanzania. I'm not supposed to be on the Tanzanian side. I'm not going to Tanzania. So I sort of whipped the bike around and then had a long conversation, and then found a guy who drove me back to the police station and said, go and talk to them. And they told me to go and park my bike and walk back. And if I did that, they'd let me through the hole in the fence to go and look over the bridge at the waterfall. So that's what I did. But what I didn't realise at that point is that I would then have to check back into Rwanda, because of course I kind of technically left Rwanda because I was in the middle of this crossing point and I didn't have my passport with me. And for reasons I may have gone into in another video, and a long-standing issue with Irembo, who you pay to update these things, my Rwandan ID card is seriously out of date. I did pay to upgrade it. I did pay for it the last time I got my visa, but Irembo never flipping processed it and I never got my new Rwandan ID card. And because I'd already paid for it, I went through this kind of, it's only 5,000 to get another one, but I've already paid and I'm not going to pay again and sod off. So I got into that kind of mood, which means that technically, I wasn't stupid. I wasn't too stupid. I always take a photocopy, a colour photocopy of my passport and my visa. So I had got that to back up my claim that I was actually from Rwanda and I hadn't been to Tanzania. I just went to look at the waterfall and now I'd like to come back. And I got this really nice immigration officer who just looked at me and he said, well, what have you been doing? And I said, I took some photographs of the waterfall. He said, I can see. He checked the photographs and they were all fine. He said, yeah, all right, that's fine. Go back. Which was really nice because he didn't have to do that. He could have made my life very, very difficult because, I'm there with an outdated, expired Rwandan ID and no passport. He could have made that very difficult for me, but he didn't, which was really sweet. But he did want to know whether I was married. And when I said I wasn't, he wanted to know why I wasn't, which is a standard line of questioning. In Rwanda, it is very, very common, especially, I don't know if men get this, let me know. I don't know if men get this from other men constantly, but if you are a woman travelling in Rwanda, and I know it's not just Mzungus, because I do have Rwandan female friends who say they get a bit of this quite often, is, are you married? Well, you're a stranger to me in an official capacity. It is absolutely none of your business, but they will ask it. Then if you're not married or you don't have children, they want to know why, because this is obviously a serious issue. But it's a difficult one. As an English person, I get pretty offended by that line of questioning. I don't know you. We're not friends. I'm not trying to become friends with you. You're in an official capacity, and I don't want to discuss my marital status with you, or why not I have children, or am married, or blah, 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 blah. That is really not the question here. But at the same point, I do know that if the question was reversed and I'd asked him, oh, are you married? Do you have children? He wouldn't think that that was odd. So it's very different expectations of, sort of appropriate questioning. And at the same time, all of that is forgiven because, again, he didn't have to just let me straight back into Rwanda. And not just that, he was really, really nice about it. And, once he'd checked that I'd gone to do what I said I'd gone to do, he basically was really sweet because we had a little conversation and he found out how long I'd lived in Rwanda. And he said, no, welcome home. It's your home. Welcome home. And I was like, felt a bit teary at that point. It was like, thank you very much. Because, I've got to say, Rwandans are very welcoming, even if they don't always appear to be at first. We always talk about the Rwandan stare. There's a very hard stare that you get quite often. But if you smile and you say, amakuru, how are you? It very quickly people respond in a friendly manner. And, that's really... It's a shame that isn't so obvious. It's a shame that it doesn't often come with a smile because people don't just smile for the sake of smiling. So anyway, my thoughts on this, because I came on this road trip to go and see Rusumo Falls because, I'd heard about it, I'd never seen it. My thoughts on the issue were that I am glad that I have seen it because it's part of Rwanda that I hadn't seen before. I don't think I'd recommend anybody else does it unless you are specifically on a road trip from Rwanda to Tanzania. Then maybe you could just park up and have a little glance at it on the way, but I wouldn't go there just to go and see it. It is a very cool waterfall. It would be incredible if there was a platform where you could go and stand next to it because you are looking down on it. It's not a particularly high waterfall. You are looking down on it, and I think if you were standing next to it, the speed of that water is incredible. I think that would be pretty mind-blowing, but given where it is, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I can see why. It's just a shame, but I think although it is possible to go over there and have a look at it, I would suggest that the hassle involved of, figuring out the road, parking up, walking down, explaining to the police what you're doing, going and taking photographs and then checking back into Rwanda to get out again, I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. And my friend Lane wanted to go and see it when she was visiting, I think it was last year. And I suggested she didn't purely because it was just a really long way to go. It's from Kigali, it's about 3 hours or so, 3.5 hours. And I just thought that was a very long way to go, just look at the waterfall. But now I'm really glad she didn't because as a foreigner, if you don't know Rwanda and you don't kind of know how things operate and at least a little bit of Kinyarwanda, it's not a great idea. I don't think she would have actually got onto the bridge to see it. So yeah, I don't know. If you've been to Rusumo, let me know what your thoughts are below. And it is a cool waterfall, but I don't think it's so impressive that it's worth that amount of hassle. Anyway, I've been talking for a really long time now and I'm going to stop. But yes, tomorrow we are going on a really long ride. We're going from here to the west of the country to Lake Chihoha, to a campsite there. And the only thing I'm not sure about is we go back the way we came for part of it, and then we're turning off the tarmac road, and I don't know if we're continuing along a tarmac road or if we're going full-blown off-road to get there. We're going to pass between a couple of other lakes. I can't remember what they're called, but I will put it up on screen. And it's going to be about a 4-hour drive. It says something like 3 or 3.5 on Google, but these things never work out that short. So we're going to be going on a very long road trip tomorrow. And a little bit nervous, but I'm going to get a good night's sleep and yeah, see how it goes. Oh, I'm liking this. The mosquito net fully fits this bed. That's excellent.